In case you missed it, we got more MLB The Show 22 news today. Today's feature premiere was going over everything new with Road to the Show and the ball players. So if you're a Road to the Show fan, or you like using your ball players and on your DD team as your cap, a lot of new information coming your way. Let's dive right into this one and break down everything we learned today. First thing out the gate, we learned that Joe Mauer is going to be featured in this year's Road to the Show into their new narratives that they're working on. Going to be seeing a lot of players like Joe Mauer. We'll have other former players like Ken Griffey Jr. featured as well. Even the addition of some minor league coaches like we can see right here. Really awesome addition to the game to really add some more depth to the narratives that we're going to be having here in Road to the Show for MLB The Show 22. As we see right here, tons of new and returning faces to Road to the Show, as a lot of work was really done on the narrative and the cutscenes as you're going and progressing through your Road to the Show career. It's going to be more dynamic. It's going to be more in line with what's happening in your career, and they're all going to be based off of your archetype as well. So as you choose a different archetype, if you're a contact hitter versus a power hitter, a finesse pitcher versus a power pitcher, you're going to have different narratives and cutscenes appear throughout your career. Really cool addition that a lot of depth, I think, to Road to the Show this year that I think has been lacking in previous versions. Overall, a lot of quality of life and some nice changes to Road to the Show. But the big thing we want to talk about today is the new ball player system. It's definitely been adjusted. They mentioned multiple times that a lot of feedback was taken from last year to make the ball player system much better this year. First thing you can do, you can have multiple ball player slots. So you can have up to 10 ball players that are different positions, different appearances, different attributes, different equipment. Everything about them will be unique to each other. You are no longer stuck to just one ball player at a time. We can now have up to 10, which is going to be awesome if you wanted to live out multiple different career paths, or if you're wanting to use it in DD, having multiple different players available as your cap, having those options there. That is a much needed change, one I know a lot of people were hoping to see in this game. Another thing to note as well is the forced play style that is gone. You're no longer forced to start out as a two-way player this year. I know a lot of people did not like the forcedness of that. You had to start as a two-way player and go through those cutscenes to then not become one. You get to choose that this year. If you want to be a pitcher, a two-way player, or a position player, you get to choose that out the gate. And then from there, you'll go in and choose your archetypes that you'll follow. So we can see here, if you want to be a position player, you choose your archetype, then power, contact, fielding, whatever kind of flow you want to fit into. That's going to affect your attributes. That's going to affect how your player performs and what attribute caps and minimums those players are going to have as well. And then, of course, on the other front, we can see on the pitcher side here, we have velocity, we got break, we have control, and we do have a knuckleball archetype as well. If you want to be a knuckleballer in Road to the Show, you can do that, but do know it is only for offline play in Road to the Show. You will not be able to have knuckleball on your Diamond Dynasty creative player and use that in game. So if that was a worry for you, do not worry about that. But if you'd always wanted to be a knuckleballer and just play offline in Road to the Show, that is now an option this year, which, you know, hey, I'm all for that flexibility and being able to play and do whatever you want. Follow your Road to the Show career as you please. Of course, after choosing your archetype, you'll come here and choose your position as well. So you're not going to be forced into any certain positions, not going to be forced to have to do anything. You're really going to have a lot of freedom and flexibility, it seems like, this year with Road to the Show and your Diamond Dynasty creative players. Now, one thing I do want to note on that will be a big thing is progression. If we remember last year, I'm sure if y'all played MLB The Show 21, you do, the ball player glitches and everything going on with there to get quickly through the inning programs and make a ton of stubs. That has been adjusted this year. We'll have to see how the implementation fully is. But the biggest thing, the only progression you can get for your ball player archetype is going to be through Road to the Show this year. So no more progressing through Diamond Dynasty. It will be Road to the Show only. That is going to be the only progression you can get. But if we take a look at some of the reward paths, it could still be very valuable. We can take a look here at the Diamond path. We can see that the stub amount that you earn has been lowered quite drastically. Only 525 subs here at that 50 part in the program, so no more getting 9,000 or whatever it was. But we can see 2,500 XP all over the place. We can see the diamond perks, the dynamic perks, the pitching perks, and the diamond equipment. You're getting multiple of those. So as you're getting to these diamond archetypes in 22, I do think from a stub perspective and a program progress perspective, it is going to be very rewarding. So we are definitely going to be diving into that when the game launches this could be one of the best things to focus on as a no money spent player out the gate, is getting through. And if you can get these perks that are selling for 10,000 a piece, equipment that's selling for 20 to 30,000, that can be super beneficial to you to help build up that bankroll and get that squad rolling early out the gate. So again, we'll have to see what it looks like time-wise progression. But one thing that they did note is that progression is actually, I think it will be quicker this year to get through a lot of these Road to the Show programs. Of course, last year, we weren't necessarily traveling through these programs organically. We were using a lot of unintended methods to quickly move through the program. So if there are none of those this year and you have to fully grind through it, probably takes some more time overall. But if it's sped up, still could be super valuable as an avenue to gain stubs as a no money spent player. We'll have to see how that breaks down. Of course, you know, when 22 drops, we'll be all over the quickest way to get through this if there are ways to speed up that process, because those diamond equipments and those perks, we know how much stubs can be valued in those. And that XP too, we don't necessarily know exactly how XP is going to be used in this year. Could it be inning programs back like they were last year? Could be an XP reward path coming back. Whatever it is, we know that getting XP is probably going to be very rewarding to us, and that's something we're going to want to be doing. So if we can get 25, 5, 75, 10, 12, 5, 15k XP just on this one screen right here, there's probably a lot of value in that for us. Now, in terms of the programs themselves, pretty similar format to last year. You progress through the tiers of a program. We can see right now, this is a gold tier program, and at the end of it, you get the diamond archetype that then unlocks that diamond archetype program and gives you 3,000 XP, but a similar method overall. Get through one program, unlock the diamond archetype. That will be your best evolution of that ball player that you can have there. And then, of course, we add on our perks and equipment on top of that, which some changes to perks this year for ball players. Before we dive into perks, a real quick look at what some of these missions look like for this ball player program. We can see this one right here: 9 innings pitched, 14 strikeouts, 25 plate appearances, putouts, assists, hits, extra base, stolen bases, etc., etc. The list goes on and on. Essentially, it will just be a stats accumulation in Road to the Show. Very similar on that front to last year. We'll see if there are ways to simulate through that again like we had last year. I'm personally hoping not. I do want it to be a little bit more of an organic grind through these, but we'll definitely see. But again, only in Road to the Show, statistical accumulation missions. That is what we're doing. That is how we're going to progress through these programs. So a couple quick changes with perks. First off, you can see we have 255 perks available here on launch is what it looks like. And if you are a Diamond Dynasty player, you may notice that some of these perks are different this year. Leadoff Magic, Oppo Taco, On Fire, Off the Radar, Inner Peace, Jumpstart, Lifeline. These are perks that would be found in Showdown. They're what they're called dynamic perks. And these are perks that are going to affect your attributes based off a certain situation. So, for example, Leadoff Magic, significant exit velocity boost with no runners on base. You'll see that pop up if you're using your ball player with no runners on base, and you'll get that boost similar to how it worked in Showdown. If any of y'all played Showdown, you know how these work. These are now going to be usable on your ball player in Diamond Dynasty and Road to the Show. So, if instead of getting a perk that adds a certain contact or power boost, which are still available, all the perks that we had last year, those are available in the same fashion. Instead of taking one of those perks, you could take Inner Peace and have a massive contact boost on pitches down the middle of the plate, or you could have Jumpstart where you get a significant contact boost on the first 2 pitches of an at-bat. So going to be some trade-off there. Going to be really interesting to see how these are incorporated into Diamond Dynasty for your ball players. Hopefully it's not something that is crazy OP, and if you have Jumpstart with a certain other perk and some certain power combination, the ball just goes absolutely insane off the bat with certain players. I'm hopeful that doesn't happen since it's coming at the cost of additional attributes, because that is taking up a perk slot. Hopefully it is balanced out there. If it is balanced out, I really do like the addition of this. Some of these perks are really cool, and those Showdown perks, a lot of fun to use those. So the implementation into the ball player with DD is certainly interesting. That's what we're working with ball players and Road to the Show changes. Nothing too crazy. A lot of nice under the hood slight updates and changes that I think are going to be really cool for quality of the life. They took a lot of feedback from last year on the ball player side of things, so progression is adjusted from that. Being able to have multiple ball players is a W. The archetypes with some of these new perks could be really, really awesome. You can make some super cool players. And then on the road to the show front, being able to progress solely through road to the show and have a lot more freedom with what your player is, what your player does, what type of player you're able to play with. I think that is definitely something that was needed for the road to the show community, so they have that freedom to play as they want. I know there's a lot of people not winning caps in DD. I'm not necessarily in favor of them, but definitely don't think there's something that's going anywhere anytime soon. So hopefully they're not too overpowered this year, especially early on out the gate. But time will tell on that. On the surface, it looks like a lot of nice, very subtle, but strong quality of life changes, which it seems to be a common theme here with the Show 22. Maybe nothing groundbreaking, but give me better servers with a much better quality of life. And we got the recipe for a really awesome game. Go ahead and leave your thoughts down below on this road to the show and ball player feature premiere. As always, though, you enjoyed this video, definitely be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Until next time, I'll catch y'all around.